All right, first thing we do when we make the pizza dough is I start with 1 pound 6 ounces of flour, and I like to do it by weight. I think that ends up being 4.5 cups, but definitely I do it by weight. So got my thing on the scale. I'm going to zero out the container, get out my flour, and now you can't see it, but I can. Dump this baby in here, and when I get to 1 pound 6 ounces, I will stop and almost there. I'm at 1 pound 5, and sometimes I overshoot and gotta take 1 pound 6. Oh, a wee bit over. Take a little bit out, and there you are, 1 pound 6 ounces. So that's what you start with. Once I got that going, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a fork, and I'm going to make a nice well in this for the next step. So let me finish making the well, and we will get the water and the sugar and the yeast in here. Okay? More on that in just a moment. Okay, I'm back, and I've got myself 2 cups of hot water. Technically, I guess it's supposed to be between 100 and 105 degrees. I just go with hot tap water. Into this, I'm going to have to add sugar. I love this recipe because it's 2 teaspoons of sugar that go into 2 cups of water, and then eventually we add in 2 teaspoons of yeast, which makes it really easy. All right, so now let me get a spoon and stir this all together and get the sugar dissolved. And once I got the sugar dissolved, then I'm going to add my yeast. Oh, still in there. Let me turn this way. All right, you can probably do them both at the same time, but you know, I'm a bit, I like to do things my way. All right, so put that aside. 2 teaspoons of the yeast, and I'm just using, what do you got going here? Just active dry yeast, nothing special about it. And there's 1, and oh my gosh, I'm running out. Oh, we're gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way. And there's the other one. Okay, didn't quite get a full one. All right, now the yeast is in there. Now we got to mix it all up, which is actually kind of fun. It gets kind of icky looking. All right. So I'm gonna, I like to get the yeast all mixed up into the water, get it going before I add it to the flour and mix the whole thing up. So here we go. All right, and you'll see when it's all done. Come on, get out of the yeast. All right, get back down in there. Oh, look at me. I'm getting the yeast all in there. All right. Okay. And that's about it. Now what I do is I bring back the flour. Here's the flour we made the well for. I hope that's in the field of vision. And then I send the water, yeast, sugar mixture down in there. And now is where it gets fun. Basically, I'm going to start working in some of this flour, and I'm just going to slowly, I don't know what the word is, incorporate it, slowly mix it in with the yeast in the water. And I do this, it takes some time. This bit takes a little time. And then once I get it kind of smoothed out, kind of the lumps gone, I will then add a little bit more flour in from the side, and I'll mix that in. And eventually this thing's going to be a sticky mess. And then, well, I'll show you what I do then. Things get crazy. All right. There we go. I'm just mixing it all up, Alright, so now it's the part where I just start getting the flour in there as much as I can. Keep mixing it. It's gonna fall apart a little bit, but it'll come back together the more you mix it. So here we go. Let me see, I'm just getting the flour in there. And I'm going to keep doing this till all the flour is mixed in. You just have to scrape it off the bottom every once in a while. Keep it going. All right. You want to put this on, if you haven't already done so, like double speed or fast forward till I'm done with this. All right, now we're starting to get there. Okay. Okay, I'm going to pause this just for a second while I get out a couple more things that I'm going to be needing for this. Haha, kneading. That is very funny. That's dough humor. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. So I haven't really done anything. I just got out a couple things, put a couple things away. You'll see what I got out in just a second. So I'm just going to clean off my fork because, again, I'm kind of particular about things. Okay, so now at this point, I'm going to set this aside for just a moment. And what I used to do was I used to roll this out, and then as I kneaded it, it would get sticky, and I would end up adding flour so it wouldn't stick. And I basically ruined my water content by adding all this flour to it. So what my solution is, it's not my solution, I saw it on the internet, is I'm going to take this little stone here. I don't even know where I got it, had it for a while. You could do this, I assume, on the kitchen countertop, but I'm going to put a little oil down on here. And then I'm going to use oil, get my hands all nice and oily. And I'm going to use oil to keep my dough from sticking to me while I knead it. And in this way, we won't be raising the water content at all. Of course, the dough is going to be a little more oily, but if you notice, it didn't have any oil in it before. So at this point, I'm just going to knead it, and occasionally I'm going to have to add more oil to my hand and more oil to the stone. But I'm going to knead it for about 10 minutes. All right, and it comes together kind of nicely. And imagine if you got a bigger surface, you can get a bigger surface. And whenever I was making pizza dough before, this was always the hardest part to me. Always. And this is kind of what I've come up with that seems to work the best, as far as not getting it stuck all over me and keeping the water content nice and high, which is where you want it, to give it a really soft dough. And that's what we're going for, a nice soft dough. All right, back on my hands. All right, because my other dough tasted good. It was really chewy. Oh, another thing. There's no salt in this dough. When I first started, the recipe called for salt, but boy, it ended up just being salty. The dough did. Now, I'll be honest, in our family, we don't eat a lot of salt. There's been heart disease and stuff like that in the grandparents, so we just don't really add salt, so it's not part of the flavor of stuff that we always think we have. You know, we don't automatically add salt to things. So you might try this dough and go, ugh, no flavor, it needs a little salt. Well, of course, it's trial and error. If you need a little salt on it, add the salt yourself. So what am I at, like 2 minutes here? This is gonna get very boring very quickly. So I think at this point, I'm gonna keep kneading this for, well, let me show you one more time. You see it's starting to get a little sticky in my hand. So what I'm gonna do is just add a little more oil down here. That's what I do. Rub it into the rock, get it out of my hands, and I'm back to kneading it. No problem. Okay. Anyway, so I'm gonna pause this thing for now, and I will come back when this is getting close to being done, okay? All right, adios for now. Okay, thank you. All right. It's been about 8 minutes. I'm cheating. I don't feel like going so far. All right, so what I do at the end is I kind of take my dough and I kind of fold it in on itself, and you use quick little hands and it doesn't stick to you. Okay, and then boom, there we go. All right, so I like my dough. I don't know, does it spring back? I don't know what that's supposed to be, if it's supposed to or anything. I don't know how this works. So next, what I do is I get my lovely pans for baking, what do you call this? Detroit style pizza. Get your olive oil in there. I like to whip it around, make sure it's in all the nooks and crannies. Okay, by the way, this recipe makes 2 doughs. Or dough enough for 2 pizzas, I guess I should say. Yeah, so, all right, there's the first one. I don't know, just put enough oil in there to coat everything nice and even. All right, the other one real quick. I got these on Amazon. Oh, I should have drizzled that around. I screwed the pooch on this one. Anyway, okay, so I got these guys on Amazon. By the way, they're really tough to clean at the end, especially right in the corners. If you just do it, by hand, you don't quite get into the corners as well as you should. So just warning you, take a look at them after you're done with your pizza and make sure they actually did get cleaned up into the corners, because I imagine you don't want to store these guys with oil and stuff still on them, because that would tend to be kind of gross. All right. Okay, so let's see. Got that. All right, we're almost there. Almost there. Okay. Next, a little bit of joy as I'll put this aside. All right, bring back this. Ah! Okay, is that in frame? Yeah, I guess it's got to be in frame. Okay, so here's the deal. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this dough in half. All right, so get my knife get a new knife. Just be easier with a new knife. All right, want the new knife to have a little oil on it. And we're basically just going to, hold on, I want a little more oil on it than that. Because this dough is a pretty sticky dough. Let me just tell you right now, it's a pretty sticky dough at this point. So I'm just going to cut down, and I'm going to divide this dough into 2 bits. And I guess there's a dough knife you could have or something. This big flat thing. That'd be fantastic. As you see, I don't have one. All right, so I can get rid of the knife for now. Okay, so now at this point, take up one of the doughs. Doesn't matter which one. And I'm going to do this thing where, let me get this one out of here. Okay, I'm going to do this thing where I'm basically just turning it in my hand. I'm kind of folding it under. If you notice, I'm just folding it under. I'm just going to keep doing that for a while. And eventually it'll get to this kind of nice roundish like looking shape. All right, and it starts to break open. All right, you know you've gone too far. At this point, I've gone too far. So let's try it from a different angle. All right. All right, so there's one of them. Do the same thing with the other one. And again, this is going to be the exact same thing you just saw. So probably going to be repetitive and boring. I don't care. My hands are too achy to turn off the camera. All right, so there they both are. Now, here is how we actually work the final putting it into the pans. Because I found out if I just put them into the pans the way they are now, that dough is never getting into the corner. It just will not make it there. So here's what I do: a little more oil because I want this next cut to be pretty good. I'm going to cut this baby right in half. All right, so I'm taking my half and I'm cutting this half in half again. Okay, so now you've seen I got two halves. I'm going to slide this out of the way and I'll show you what I do with these halves. Bring back this. All right, gather up one of your halves and I'm going to put it in the pan this way. And the other half, it's the half circle of dough, I'm going to put it in the pan this way. And when it rises, it will fill up all the spaces. It'll come together, fill up all the spaces quite nicely. So let's get that done with the second one. Okay, and hopefully you don't need to see me cut this in half because I'm just going to do it. Ah, it's not in the right spot on the plate. There it is. Okay, back over here. There's one of the halves, and this other one got a little malformed. There's the other half. Okay, at this point, what we do is we just put like a saran wrap over top, and I pop it into the oven. I have a bread proofing setting. I put that in for a couple hours, poofs right up. At the end of the 2 hours, I'm ready to cook my pizza. All right, that's about it for now. I'll see you when it's ready to cook. Woo! This is the fun part. And by fun part, I mean not really, because this stuff tends to get all folded on itself. All right, seeing it that way. Let go. All right. There's my boy trying to help me. He's doing a great job. He is my sous chef, shall we say. Actually, that's kind of funny because he's going to be a chef and he knows way more about cooking than I'll ever know in my entire life. All right, so basically that's it. And then this pops right into the oven on the bread proofing setting. All right, welcome back. The pizza has been in the oven for about 2 hours proofing, and here's what it ends up looking like. And as soon as I pull it out of the oven, I'm gonna switch my oven to, sorry about that. I'm gonna switch it now to bake, so let's see, clear off, bake 500. All right, so we're gonna start the oven baking at 500. It takes a little bit of time. So that's what my dough ends up looking like. And so let me show you what we do now. All right, first things first. I start off with some Italian herb seasoning. I don't know where I got this stuff from, Kroger maybe. And we just put down a little bit of that. And we'll do it on both pizzas. So here's the second one. This recipe is, I guess you could cut the dough in half and make pizza, just one pizza, but you know, what the heck, since you're making it. All right, so once I got the dough, next thing you put down is the pepperoni. And on Detroit style pizzas, the pepperoni go under the cheese. So I grab a big wad of pepperoni, and I've found through trial and error how to fit a gazillion pepperonis in this thing. And I would absolutely fast forward through this. Wow, that was impressive. I grabbed just the right amount. Sometimes we do double pepperoni, but I don't think we're going to do that today. And double pepperoni, I would just stack 2 pepperonis in each one of those spots. All right, here we go with the second one. All right, now that that's done, we come to the cheese. And so let's see. What you do, here, I'll show you the regular one. Takes a pound of cheese. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a half of pound of mozzarella. All right, and I buy it in these cute little little pellets. That's where we get it. And spread this around as best you can. That's the tough part. Try and get it into the corners. All right, so first half a pound mozzarella. I use this because it's really inexpensive. But what I really like to use is Wisconsin brick cheese. That's what a certain pizza establishment in town here uses, and it's pretty darn impressive. So here's Wisconsin brick cheese, and in the immortal words of my boy, it is about the butteriest cheese you could ever imagine. And so it's going to brown up quite nicely in here. So you load up the cheese. All right, and I like to put the brick cheese on top. And if I had unlimited funds, I would just use the brick cheese. And I found the brick cheese at a pizza place in Farmington. Not a pizza place, sorry, a cheese shop actually. And it was cheaper than I could get online, so I gobbled that up. I went to a local grocery store, kind of a specialty fancy schmancy grocery store around here, and for an itty bitty amount, like, I don't know, half a pound, if even that, they were charging 19 bucks. Well, this cheese shop, what'd they charge? It was 20 bucks, no, 19 bucks? It was 9 bucks for a pound. So, yay, much better. Okay, so now, with the other one, here's the dealio. I like to get a little fancy with my pizzas. So what we're gonna do is, and then my cheeses. So we're gonna put mozzarella, quarter pound of mozzarella. All right, and again, I got that scale, so I just weighed it out. And this is where I like to get fancy. And one of my kids doesn't really like cheese all that much, so he doesn't like this one. Okay, after that, then I do a quarter pound of smoked Gouda. I just think that adds just this lovely, wonderful flavor to the pizza. Because I really like smoked Gouda. And it just changes things up. All right. And then, on top of this smoked Gouda, when I'm done with this, I'm going to be putting on the Wisconsin brick as well. So, there we go. With that one. And then here comes the Wisconsin brick on this pizza. So exciting, so exciting. Get out of there, Finn.
I was moving.
Finn, tell me what's so good about brick cheese. Loud voice.
It's made with butter, and so the actual crust will be infused with this crispy, nice, like, delicious cheese.
Delicious butteriness. Okay, so now we're ready to finish this thing off. So if you have non-meat toppings, then they go on now. But I got to get out the pizza sauce, which I totally forgot to. Hold on, I'll be right back. All right, we're back. I got the pizza sauce. We just buy pizza sauce at this point from in a gallon jug at a time, and we put it into little ball jars. And what we don't do, we freeze. We don't put it into a jar. We freeze for later. What you want to do is you want to put your pizza sauce down in 3 strips down the length of the pizza, goes pretty easy. At some point, I think I'll probably try making my own sauce, but I've been working on the crust for so long that this has just been really easy for me. All right, so there's that. Sometimes I spread it out a little bit. You don't have to, whatever you want to do. Take a wee bit more there. All right, now what you do is your non-meat toppings. We like olives, so we're gonna put olives on this one. And you just dump the olives on. And so we got our pizza, we got the pepperonis, we got the olives. This should be a joy of a pizza. All right, so ta-da, looks good. I don't see anything wrong with this. All right, now we'll do the other one. No olives on this one because my kid who's not a big fan of the cheese, so I don't do the specialty cheeses on this one. He's also not a big giant fan of the other toppings.
Olives, to be exact.
Yes, specifically olives. Ooh, I think I'm gonna have enough sauce. If not, I got some in a bag, which I can pull out.
Just the perfect one.
I'm telling you, I think we're good. I think we're good. All right, last thing I like to do is I like to put one pepperoni on top of this one so that everybody knows this is the one that doesn't have all the cheese. Well, I didn't have to do that since we got the olives. That was ridiculous. I'm gonna eat this pepperoni. Well, I'm gonna let my boy Finn do it. All right, that's it for now. Temperature's not quite up. I will stop. I will start up again when it's time to put them in. All right, we're now up to temperature, so I'm gonna put this into the oven. 500 degrees in the middle. We're gonna let it go for 6 minutes. When we're done with 6 minutes, we'll switch sides and rotate them for another 6 minutes, and then the whole thing will be done. So timer 6, start. All right, we're pretty much done. That's the end of the second 6 seconds, 6 minutes, duh. So here come the pizzas. Oh, wow, I can't see a thing. All right, here's the first one.
What's wrong?
I think that looks pretty good.
It's wrong. It's in your head.
Here comes the second one. Woo! That cheese does do pretty nice. All right. Let me turn the timer off. Oh, no. Clear off the oven. Now what we do is we let these sit for a couple minutes just to cool off. Then I will show you how I scoop them onto that pan. All right, and cut them up. That's it. Okay, they've cooled for a couple minutes. And let's show you how you get these babies out of here. First thing I do, let's see if this is gonna, yeah, first thing I do is I get my pizza and I just go along the edges. And I kind of separate the edge of the pizza from the pan. And most of the time it's pretty easy. Occasionally you gotta really give a little oomph to get in there. Once it's separated, then spatula in one side, and it tends to rip a little bit, I've noticed, with my better pizza. And you just dump it out like that. Okay, and we'll set that aside for a second, and we will do our next one. Just hold that for a second. We'll put it down right here when we're done. Okay, pizza number dos. Again, separate it on the edges. And I will tell you right now that this having this Wisconsin brick makes it easier to separate than just the mozzarella. But again, still, even with just the mozzarella, it was never that difficult. Okay, kind of get in here on the one end. I'll try and do this sideways so you can see a little better. Lift up the pizza and just slide that baby out. And now all we do is we let them sit for another, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. and then we'll cut them up for you. All right, we're back. I don't know, should I try and show you the bottom of this thing? No, I'll cut it first. All right, cutting it. Woohoo! This is the best deal ever for cutting these things. This is my boy Finn's. And when he leaves home to go away to school, or when he's done with school and he leaves home for good, I am going to be very sad because I will no longer have this pizza cutter. Because I have just cut that pizza. And here we go with this one. Now it's been only about like 4 minutes, so the pizza's going to want to ooze back together. So I cut it 3 across and then 5 this way. And after a while you get good to know how you need to cut it to make them work out good. Oh, yummy. All right, Finn, grab that one, and I will get the next one. Oh, I was going to show you. Real quick. Give me one. Crust looks about like this when you're done, and should be buttery goodness, but we'll see when the time comes to actually eat it. All right, this is it. Pretty much we're done.
Oh, what the heck?
A regular pizza cutter will work, but doesn't give you nice straight cuts like this, and I'm just telling you, this is way better. All right, so that's me signing off. That's how you make my pizza. Adios.